The Art of Reading Stage 2 is here. It is now available. So if you have been hanging out to have your child start there, then you can start now. This is available as a PDF from Foundations of Homeschool, and I am really excited to share with you a flip through of this curriculum today. Hello and welcome. I'm Christine. I am a second generation homeschooling mom of 3 kids. I have been homeschooling them for 6 years now, and we're just wrapping up our 2025 school year. I cannot believe that it's already the end of the year. It's very cliche to say, but it is true. Today's video is going to be about the Art of Reading Stage 2, and I want to share with you a flip through of this curriculum. This is a sponsored video. Thank you so much to Foundations of Homeschool for sponsoring today's video. I have pretty much completed stage 1 with my daughter, so she's just got 1 lesson left in that book. And then next year I do intend to use stage 2 with her. So that has been a fantastic fit for our family, for my daughter specifically. The pacing at which it goes, I love that everything is contained in one book. I'm not having to go and look for manipulatives or resources or anything mid-lesson. It's all in one book. But it's not a boring workbook either. It's very engaging and fun and bright and colorful. And stage 2 looks exactly the same as that. There are some small changes in formatting, and I'm just going to show you what it looks like inside and what you can expect. So let's flip the camera around and we'll take a look together. So here we go, The Art of Reading Stage 2. Lovely, beautiful cover, just like stage 1. And this is going to seamlessly continue from stage 1 into stage 2. It is set up to blend together beautifully. So we're going to take a look inside and you can see what there is. Here are your lessons. There are 26 lessons in here, and I think there's 100. I need to double check for you. There are 115 days worth of work. So definitely something that can be done in a year if you want to, but this is also set up to go at the pacing that is required for your child. So you don't have to finish it in any given time. You can go faster, you can go slower, whatever works for you guys. So you can see the different lessons that are available here. The first few weeks, however, are going to be review. So if your child, for instance, has taken a break over the summertime, they need to review the concepts, they can do that. Or if they just need to be like more solid in these different things, then they're going to get lots of review before they start any new concepts in here. So I do love how much information she puts at the beginning of the book. Please always read this. So many questions I see in Facebook groups could be answered if people just read the front of their curriculum books, seriously. So here's a little note about stage 2 if your child's ready for it, what's different about it, what to expect. Lesson length and structure. These are supposed to take about 10 minutes, I would say 10 to 15, depending on how fluent your child is in reading, but they are short and sweet lessons. That does not mean that they're overly gentle. Your child will be challenged by this curriculum. They talk about how they approach sight words, which there are very few sight words in here. I like her approach to that. Your readers have no illustrations in them. And I like that as well because it means your child is really having to decode the words rather than depend on images and illustrations to guess at them. So I really like that. And I will show you the readers because they are different compared to stage 1. There's even notes on the fonts, spelling. So I actually got this question about stage 1 and I didn't answer it very well at the time, and I wish I could go back now and answer it properly. But there is spelling practice in this curriculum. It's not necessarily labeled as spelling, but there is spelling where you'll say a word and they have to identify and isolate the blends, and then you'll use letter tiles or flashcards to create the words. So there is some spelling practice in here. However, that finishes on about page 71, and then it is expected that you would have another spelling curriculum that you would add on to this. This is not going to include any further spelling, so that's just something to be aware of. They talk about what you need, which is very basic: scissors, glue, pencil or colored markers, highlighter, a coin and a game piece, and any set of alphabet flashcards as long as there's lowercase and capital letters, okay? There's even notes on dialect and pronunciation, which is very helpful as somebody who lives outside of the United States. Most reading curriculums that I have accessed have been from the States, and there's always the discussion with my kids about how we say things differently. And that's fine. We work on that together. So this is what a lesson looks like. It's very, very similar to stage 1. where you have a lesson page. These ones are review. So you're not going to have a new lesson. You're just reviewing concepts that they've already learned. So for instance, the E is in pink because it is silent. And that is how they do that at the beginning, at least, to tell your child that that is a silent letter. And E, for the most part, at the end is going to be silent. That was something that was mentioned in stage 1, and now we're reviewing that. So that is going to be your lesson for the day, okay? It's like 1 page for your lesson. And then you'll see down the bottom here, it says read story 1 on page 117. So this is a difference in stage 1. In stage 1, the stories were like with the lessons. In this one, they're all at the back of the book, which I actually really appreciate because you could just stick a bookmark back here wherever you're up to and quickly flip to it. So all the stories are back here. So if we go to page 117, here is story 1, and it is The Lost Ball. Now, the difference between stage 1 and stage 2 when it comes to the stories is that your child is encouraged to read more than 1 page if possible. And the reason for that is this story is not just 1 page in length. You see it's The Lost Ball, and it continues on this page, and then this page, and this page, and this page. And then there's a new story on this one here, which is Pig's Big Mud Plan. So the stories span multiple days, and this stage really is about encouraging fluency and reading endurance as far as them being able to read more in 1 sitting. So that is a difference between stage 1 and stage 2. And I'm just going to show you some more of the lessons. There is some grammar practice in here, but only as it pertains to reading. So it goes over things like verbs and nouns and adjectives, homophones, that kind of thing. Very basic grammar. And there's lots and lots of review on that. Now here is where we're moving into an actual new concept. Lesson 10, silent E, and there's a new concept here. And then usually, I haven't actually double checked this, but there usually is day 51 and day 51. Yeah, so you get this page, and then here's where they practice what they've just learnt. And then they'll also have a story that they go to the back on. So that is what it looks like there. Lots of fun activities. My daughter always loves it when there's cutting out and pasting and things like that. So we're about here. This is what your last lesson in the book looks like. And then you have all your stories back here, and a lot of the book is made up of stories. So let's just look at the stories now. All the stories have comprehension questions with them. You also may go over things like silent E, okay, before you even begin the story, you're gonna go over that. Can you read the words in red? So if this is the title, which we're gonna talk about. This is the title of the story. It talks about that. What do you think this story could be about? So there's good reading comprehension questions and a little bit of literature analysis in there. And then you go through with your comprehension questions. What is the dog's name? Is a pug a big or small dog? Now, there's no handwriting practice. This is just ticking and circling and all that. So again, fantastic for kids who perhaps struggle in that area a bit, or a child who just isn't there yet but is learning how to read. And you can see here too that these are numbered, which my daughter has enjoyed, but at some point, at story number 7, those numbers go away, and now they're reading in paragraphs. So again, just a little bit more advanced for them. We're talking about contractions here. And I'm going to show you the last story, sort of near the end, just so you can see the progression. This is the level of reading that they'll be at by the time they get to the end of stage 2. You can see she's also like put ing and ed, those are in there. I love that these are pointed out because it's just so much for a little brain to decode when they're younger. I really like the way that this is laid out. So those are the main differences between stage 1 and stage 2 as far as formatting goes. But if you've done stage 1, it's very familiar. Like the things are not crazy different. You're not having to learn a whole new system. It's just as open and go as stage 1 was. I just would note that the stories obviously are in a different spot in the book. But other than that, it really is very similar. Lovely and engaging, straightforward, to the point, not too much writing on the page, which I really appreciate. And you'll find that this curriculum constantly reviews the things that I've already mentioned before. So like long vowel sounds versus short vowel sounds, but then we're building upon that foundation all the time. And we're introducing new sounds like ow, as in house, you know, you've got your OU. So you're introducing all of those things now and you're building on that foundation that was laid in stage 1 and continually reviewing it and shoring it up while building upward from there. So it's a real scaffolding curriculum. And I love that it actually reminds me a little bit of IEW and the constant repetition with that, while still building in new concepts all the time. So Math with Confidence, IEW, both things that I love and use in our homeschool. If you're familiar with those, you'll probably feel quite comfortable with this curriculum. I really hope that flip through was helpful and insightful for you. If you do have any questions about this curriculum, please go ahead and leave them down in the comments below. I will have everything linked down there for you, and you can take a look at samples on their website. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
What if the world had more of your smile? What if the wind could spread your love? What if your sweetness